Welcome to my channel Cine Chills. Let's enjoy the explanation of the movie. It is said that this is a movie that really scares people to death. It is also the most serious horror movie I have ever seen. The movie has both Japanese-style blood and Thai-style horror. Can be called a high-energy print. I strongly recommend that friends who love Unity watch it together. Mary hid a dough on the way home. She took the dough home and planned to cook it for food. But the baby at home suddenly burst into tears after seeing the dough. Seemed that the baby was very afraid of the dough. Mary did not realize the danger and insisted on cutting open the belly of the dough with a knife. But who knew that as soon as the belly of the dough was broken, a foul smell came towards her, and then all of the internal organs of the dough fell out. It looked like his internal organs had been rotten for days. Mary lost her appetite due to the smoke and left Mulu in the car. But at night, as the baby kept crying, Mulu's stomach froze and a monster crawled out of his stomach. In the middle of the night, Xiao Ben heard footsteps on the roof. He went out with a flashlight to check, but there was nothing on his roof. Instead, there was a big hole under the house of his neighbor Mary. Seemed that something had drilled in. Xiao Ben was wondering, but he didn't know that the monster that had burst out of his belly was staring at him. Xiao Ben was about to check the hole when the headlight of Mary's house suddenly lit up. Xiao Ben had to give up. However, the next day, Mary's son Xiaodi found the hole. He poked around in the hole with a stick. After a while, Mary found that the flowers and plants at the entrance of the hole were withering rapidly. Mary was very confused. She held the baby and approached the entrance of the hole and looked inside. But what was there in the dark inside? This time, the baby began to get restless and seemed to be afraid of this place. Mary had to take the baby back to the room. At night, Mary suddenly heard a heart-wrenching cry from the baby's room. She looked at the surveillance camera and saw a claw grabbing the baby's bed. Then the baby disappeared. Mary rushed to the baby's room, but she saw the bed sheet was wrapped tightly, just like a sleeping baby. But when Mary pulled back the bed sheet, she saw that it was a bundle of branches. Mary didn't have time to call her husband. Something even more terrible happened. The monster got into Mary's body and covered herself with Mary's skin. Then she held the baby and walked towards the forest. From then on, the baby never appeared again. The next day, Mary took her son Xiaodi to the depths of the forest. Just when Xiaodi was taking pictures, he heard his mother's voice coming from the tree hole. Then a pair of black hands stretched out from the tree hole. The boy got lost in the forest but heard his mother calling him, but his mother's voice came out of the tree hole. There was a sound coming from the tree hole. What was even more terrifying was that a black hand stretched out from the tree hole. My brother was terrified. But at this moment, my mother appeared from behind and the tree hole just disappeared. After the trip to the forest, Mary's body became strange. Something seemed to be surging under the skin, and Mary had a foul smell of rotting flesh that could not be washed off. Mary's behavior also became strange. Xiaodi was scared. He didn't dare to stay with Mary and quickly hid in the neighbor Xiao Ben's house. But soon Mary came to find him. She seemed very afraid of Xiaodi's contact with others and was eager to take her home. Xiao Ben had no choice but to hand Xiaodi over. Little did he know that this was handing Xiaodi over to the hands of evil spirits. When Xiaodi went to bed, he wanted to tell his father about his mother's strange behavior, but Mary stood at the door and stared at Xiaodi. Xiaodi was so scared that he didn't dare to say anything. After one night, Xiaodi disappeared. What was even more strange was that Xiaodi's dad Dashan Myson, Aiden Thavies and Dylan, your little boy. Now it was Xiao Ben's turn to be confused. Dashan clearly had 2 children, so why would he deny it? Xiao Ben was about to leave when he accidentally kicked the mat in front of the door. On the wooden board under the mat was a large Dao Wei symbol engraved. Xiao Ben thought this symbol was not simple, so he looked it up online and found that this symbol specifically refers to half-human, half-demon evil spirits. They often hide in tree holes, hunt for other people's good-looking skins, and then seduce men to forget their children and then feed on those children. Xiao Ben had to suspect that the evil spirit had sneaked into the neighbor's house and had some connection with Mary. Mary's 2 children might have been eaten, so Xiao Ben began to monitor Mary's family. He found that Mary often she went in and out of the cellar and took out a lot of trash. Ben took advantage of the night to run to the trash can and looked through it. He found that all the things Mary threw away were the 2 children's things. Mary often went to the cellar. Dashan also realized that something was wrong. He wanted to open the cellar to see if Mary had any, but he stopped him nervously and whispered a few words to Dashan. Then Dashan's eyes were dull. Then his eardrum burst and blood flowed out. But Dashan seemed to be unaware of the pain and just stood there stupidly. Mary smiled triumphantly and walked away swaggeringly. But a few days later, Mary's skin and flesh shrank, her arms began to rot, and her teeth fell out at the touch. Seemed that Mary's skin was no longer useful. The hungry ghost urgently needed a new skin. The next day, Xiaobench pried open the cellar of her house because Mary was not at home. But there was a terrible thing in the cellar. Xiaoben was scared and he quickly escaped from the cellar. The woman in the cellar looked exactly like her neighbor Mary, but she had no skin. It seemed that the evil spirit had taken Mary's skin and locked her in the cellar to let her die slowly. Ben was so frightened that he ran straight to the dock and confirmed that the evil spirit had taken the little girl Lily to the forest. Ben was too scared to care and hurried away. Running wildly towards the forest, Xiao Ben woke up and it was pitch black. She hurried home to call the police to save Lily, but as soon as she got home, Xiao Ben found that something was wrong with her stepmother. The flowers on the table withered quickly when she approached the table. Couldn't be a human being that could absorb the life around it. Xiao Ben quickly picked up the things at hand and threw them at the stepmother. Our video today ends here. If you like it, please subscribe, follow, like, support me. See you in the next movie.